Well, a very pleasant good afternoon to you, everybody. I'm Phil Stone, along with a man who has certainly felt the heat of these playoff fires, the former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Sam Rutigliano. Sam, New England, a team with exceptional balance. They have sent 7 men to the Pro Bowl this year, more than any other team in the AFC.
Well, they're a team certainly operating on all cylinders. Craig James made it running behind Brian Holloway, and John Hanna in his 9th appearance in the Pro Bowl, and Irving Fryer can beat you many ways. Defensively, Steve Nelson said it best. They're a strong, aggressive, attacking defense. Andre Tippett, 16.5 sacks, and there are 2 other players on defense that could have made it to the Pro Bowl, Phil.
I'll tell you, there's some folks around these parts that are madder than hornets that Freddie Marion and Don Blackman are not going to the Pro Bowl. You talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Here is a team, Boomer Esiason. He loves to go deep. Sam, will he be effective employing that vertical game today against the Patriots?
Boomer has Chris Collinsworth and Eddie Brown, and I'm going to make a statement, Phil. I think they're the best duo in the National Football League.
The Bengals lost any shot, Sam, they had at the postseason tournament when the Steelers lost yesterday to the New York Giants. But does Cincinnati have enough left, knowing they're not going to the playoffs, to knock off the Patriots?
Their head coach right now and the organization wants to have as good an off-season as they possibly can. And their comfort zone right now is to even out into an 8-8 season and have as good an off-season as they possibly can. And they can do that by beating the Pats today.
Well, you're absolutely right, Sam. And there's the man who will try and engineer that victory over New England. Sam Wyche, in his 2nd year as head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, he told me about 20 minutes ago he is absolutely heartsick that his Bengals will not be a part of the Super Bowl tournament. As for the New England Patriots, oh, what a year it has been for Raymond Berry. First full year as a head coach in the National Football League, and he has got his team on the windowsill of the 1985-86 playoff picture. A near-capacity crowd on hand here at Sullivan Stadium. The temperature 29 degrees, a 15-mile-an-hour wind. The wind chill is 12 degrees, and Jim Breach will let it sail. End over end. It is taken a yard deep, and here comes Stephen Starring. He'll bring it out. He moves it to the 20-yard line. He is knocked off his feet by Robert Jackson. A 21-yard return, and here come the Patriots, led by Tony Eason. Collins, James, the running backs. James on his way to the Pro Bowl. So is Irving Fryer, Stanley Morgan, Lynn Dawson, the wide receivers, and the tight end. The offensive line, a couple of All-Pros in Holloway and Hanna. Pete Brock, his first start since undergoing arthroscopic surgery on both knees back in early October. Eason. And on the first play of the game, he is swarmed under by Eddie Edwards. For the Bengals, only their 38th sack all year. They are not known for getting to opposing quarterbacks. And one of the big reasons is those 3 right there. Quite frankly, they have not pressured opposing quarterbacks enough. Tim Crumry, an outstanding year at nose tackle. The linebackers, Carl Zander, the lone rookie. Glenn Cameron in his 11th year out of Florida. And the defensive backs, oh, Louis Breeden. What an awful day he had a week ago at RFK Stadium. The Bengals now with 5 defensive backs. The pitch goes to the far side. Craig James cuts it back in. Moves the ball up to about the 17-yard line. He'll get 5 back.
John Hanna and Brian Holloway, they're going to run to their left. Watch 73 and 76. John's going to come off the block. Now he's got to block Jackson, a defensive back. Now watch James break to the inside and get a sizable gain. Excellent call now, because now they have 3rd down and 11. They just tried to get half of it.
The Patriots with 3 wide receivers, starring Fryer and Stanley Morgan from the shotgun on 3rd and 11. Eason, he's got Collins out of the backfield. He'll be far short of the first down. Robert Jackson on the tackle. And the Patriots will have to give up the football.
That'll bring a 4th down situation for the
Rich Camarillo is coming on. Earlier this year, he set a Patriots record for most punts in a season. He has 89. And only 13 of those 89 have sailed into the end zone.
It'll be Rich Camarillo doing the punting.
Mike Martin back at his own 34-yard line. Bengals showing a big rush, and they send Robert Jackson, and he almost blocked the punt. End over end. Martin's got it at the 41. And he is thrown on his back at the 39-yard line. Rod McSwain, a 40-yard punt by Camarillo. It will be tough to compress the football today with the frigid temperatures down on the playing surface. Here come the Bengals. It'll be Boomer Esiason with the no-huddle offense. And take a look. They are coming right to the line. First down, Cincinnati at the 40-yard line. Play action. Esiason's going to go for it. No. Underthrows the coverage. He's got Brooks. He fumbles the ball. Coming into this football game, the Cincinnati Bengals had only given the football away 27 times all year. That had tied Chicago and the Jets for the NFL low. But this time it is Larry McGrew who comes up with the turnover. First down, New England at the Cincinnati 47-yard line. James creases the 45 near the 44.
Boomer is running a play-action pass. He's obviously looking deep. He can't find anyone deep. He lays the ball off to Brooks. Now Brooks is going to come close to first down, and he fumbles his ball as Steve Nelson, 57, and there's Larry McGrew, number 50, recovering the fumble, and they have the ball in Cincinnati territory.
Second down and 8. James to the outside. He could go. Craig James, 35-yard pickup.
Craig James is going to be running to his right. Now watch his vision as he cuts back away from the grain. Eddie Edwards was blocked cleanly. Now he gets out into the open, and he just has one man, switches the ball to the outside so he doesn't fumble, and now they have the ball inside the 10, and that came after that fumble by James Brooks.
First down and goal at the 9-yard line. Mosey to Tupou. Tries to penetrate the left side. No secret who he's running in behind, Sam.
Holloway and Hanna, and you're going to see this is a must game, and the Patriots are going to run the football, and they're going to run behind Holloway and Hanna, and there they are right there, the two Pro Bowlers. Watch Holloway, number 76, and Hanna stay on their feet and drive. Hanna gets a little help there because he grabs Crumry and brings him to the ground.
You talk about Crumry. Boy, what a matchup today between Pete Brock, the center for the Patriots, and Tim Crumry, the nose tackle for Cincinnati. Second down and goal from the 6. Sweep right, hand back pass. And he will be knocked down by Carl Zander, the rookie out of Tennessee. What pursuit by the inside man on the left side.
Craig James has thrown 2 for touchdowns, and you can see that the halfback, Tony Collins, was wide open. I don't know why James did not throw this football. He's right on the top of the screen. He looks to throw the ball, and Collins was open. It was late, and now number 91, Carl Zander, comes in to make the play. Key third down.
Third and goal now from the 8. Out of the shotgun come the Patriots. Eason looking left, going for his tight end, and it is batted in the air. James Griffin with the coverage. Boy, Stanley Morgan, Sam, almost came in under that batted pass.
Well, Cincinnati dodged the bullet right there. You have to give them credit. After the fumble, the Patriots had a first down inside the 10-yard line. They held for 3 downs, and it was a 4-point swing. Now they have an opportunity to kick a field goal as opposed to scoring a touchdown after that fumble.
Officially a 26-yard attempt for Tony Franklin. He gets it airborne and splits the upright. So with 10 minutes and 53 seconds to play on the opening period, the Patriots take advantage of the Bengals turnover. Just before the start of today's game, this was the only man the New England Patriots introduced. He came out underneath the goalpost and listened to the applause for Julie Adams.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the Patriots organization takes great pride in introducing one of the finest men to have ever worn a Patriots uniform. The number 85 defensive end, Mr. Julius Adams.
Of course, Julie Adams in his 15th and final year as a New England Patriot. And what a fitting tribute it was here at Sullivan Stadium just a few moments ago. 10 minutes and 53 seconds to play on the opening period. Phil Stone with Sam Rutigliano, and the Patriots, following a James Brooks fumble, have taken a 3-0 lead. Franklin lets it go. It is taken at the 14 by Mike Martin. He is up the sideline and wrestled out of bounds at the 28-yard line by Brian Ingram.
And that was interesting. They faked a reverse on that play. And so it looks like Cincinnati is going to pull out all the stops because, as Sam White said, there's absolutely no way they're going in the tank today. They want to even this series out. They want to even their record out at 8-8.
Sam, you talk about the Bengals. They probably have one of the finest offensive lines in all of football.
It looks like a row of 5 condominiums. They're the biggest offensive line in pro football.
Esiason going for the sideline. Eddie Brown cannot hold on to the football. Raymond Claiborne, who is Pro Bowl bound for the second time in the last 3 years on the coverage. There's a man right there, Sam, who has never missed a game in 9 years.
And he also plays the toughest receiver each week. He's played in 121 consecutive games.
Oh, that is abundant.
Durability is a tremendous factor for a football player.
Again, the Bengals employing the fast break, no huddle offense. Esiason looking right. Unloads. It is caught at the 31. Or was it? Nope. Rodney Holman trapped the football. The big tight end out of Tulane. Boy, he had a big week last Sunday at RFK Stadium. A couple of touchdown catches. Now, Sam, you talked about this New England Patriot defense. Garen Veras, the rookie left in. What a year. He leads all AFC rookies in sacks with 9. The linebacking core, absolutely superb, and the defensive backs are up there as well. Cincinnati with 4 wide receivers on 3rd down and 10. Esiason looking downfield. Now unloads. He has got Eddie Brown. And he is clotheslined at the 46-yard line by Roland James. A pickup of 26. And look at the Bengals. They're coming right back to the line. No huddle.
Right now with the no huddle, they're putting a lot of pressure on the Pat defense. The Pat defense right now has to go into a normal defense. They can't substitute, and they'll probably go into some type of zone coverage. This is to put pressure on the substitution on the part of the Pats.
First down, play action. Esiason rolling to the left side. He was trying to hit Mike Martin, who fell down, making his cut at the 30-yard line. Well, you talked about the fast break offense and what it accomplishes, Sam. It seems to me it accomplishes 2 things. Not only what you said about situation substitution, but it certainly disrupts the normal tempo of a game.
Yes, because the defense wants to have an opportunity to see where all the receivers are and study the formations and have a chance to adjust. They cannot adjust to that when you go with the fast break offense.
Esiason, 2 of 5 thus far for 33 yards. That's Brown in motion. James Brooks turns the corner. A pickup of 15 yards for the little guy out of Auburn. Brooks needs just 120 yards, Sam.
They're going to run a sweep, but watch them fake the reverse. They fake the reverse, and that helps give them a hole right now. And James Brooks makes an excellent decision to avoid 38 Roland James and picks up a first down.
From the 30-yard line of the Patriots, inside handoff. Again, it is James Brooks. He moves it to the 28 and no further.
Larry McGrew.
The Patriots have always been known for their defensive back, Sam, but I'll tell you what, Ronnie Lepet, and that is the correct pronunciation. It is Ronnie Lepet. Last week when the team went down to Miami, folks around the Sunshine State, friends of Ronnie's, kept calling him Lepet. And Ronnie turned to all of his Patriot teammates and said, "See, I told you it's Lepet. Nobody believed me." Tip pass. Raymond Claiborne had a chance to break to the football and couldn't get footing. Intended for James Brooks. And look at the Bengals. They're coming again with no huddle as the Patriots try desperately to shuttle new men onto the defensive side. Boy, does that create problems for a defense.
No question about it. It creates an unsettling problem on the part of the defense, just as long as the offense isn't confused themselves. Now, Boomer Esiason is a receiver.
Eddie Brown, there's the option pitch to James Brooks, and he moves the ball to the 24-yard line. They've used that play before with great effectiveness.
This league is a whole group of copycats. That's exactly the innovation that Don Coryell put in so well at San Diego. Boomer Esiason was a wide receiver, and they came out and actually ran the option. And now they're going to kick a field goal from the 24-yard line.
4th down and 4. Field goal spot will actually be from 42 yards away. Jim Breach has the wind at his back. And after a muff snap, Kreider gets it down, and Breach whistles it through. Clock stops with 8:09 to play in the first period. We're deadlocked at 3.
Cleveland is already in. The Jets winning right now makes it even more difficult for the Pats. But the Pats are on the edge of a cliff today. If they take one step back and lose, it's all over. They have to win today. And Raymond Berry said it best. We can't worry about anyone else. We have to win today. And of course, Miami is ahead of Buffalo 7-0.
Jim Breach, who just tied this ball game with a 32-yard, make that 42-yard field goal, will let it go. At the 4-yard line, Stephenstein fumbles the ball. And he is knocked down by Robert Jackson at the 11-yard line. Robert Jackson with 2 special teams tackles today. Eason coming into the ball game now. He'll begin deep in his own end. He is 1 for 2 for 5 yards early on in the first period, and even 8 minutes to play in the first quarter. Patriots come out of the I formation. The deep back. That is Tony Collins. And he is grabbed from behind at the 12-yard line by Carl Zander. Big games all around the NFL today. Right now, let's go to Ahmad Rashad for this update. Ahmad, what's happening?
Well, here's the story from Miami. The Dolphins jump in front of Buffalo 7-0, 19-yard connection. Fine catch by Bruce Hardy on the throw from Dan Marino. Marino's 29 touchdown passes leads the NFL, and Miami, a 17-point favorite, leads 7-0.
That's amazing, Bob, how much you sound like Ahmad. Here comes Craig James out across the 20-yard line and knocked down there. Close to a first down, the tackle by Ray Horton. The Patriots with the first down at the 21-yard line. And what is so incredibly amazing, Sam, about this Patriots' ability to run the football is they're doing it behind an offensive line that was decimated by injuries early, and it has been the Band-Aid treatment virtually all year. James to the 25. Crumry on the stop.
Rod Humanak is their offensive line coach, and we worked together for 5 years at Cleveland. He's done an outstanding job. Of course, he has some very fine players in that offensive line, beginning with the 2 Pro Bowlers, Brian Holloway and John Hanna.
2nd down and 7 from the 25. Sweep this side. Collins across the 30-yard line. He's into the Bengals secondary, and he is pulled down from behind by James Griffin. Collins rambles for 30, make that 27 yards.
Tony Collins has been used primarily as a receiver coming out of the backfield, but they're running a sweep, and watch him use his blockers and wait for the crack. And there's the crack. John Hannah can get through, so can you, Tony. And now watch him put added yardage on it as James Griffin makes the tackle. And I believe the Patriots today are going to try to run the football right at Cincinnati.
From the midfield stripe, it is first down. Play action, Eason looking long. He will air it out. Stanley Morgan, touchdown number 5 this season. His 47th career TD. That, my friends, is a team record here in New England.
And that's why speed kills. That touchdown came because of Morgan's speed.
Tony Franklin, his 37th conversion in 38 tries. Clock stops with 5:28 to play on the Patriots in a must-win situation out in front. That 50-yard touchdown pass from Eason to Stanley Morgan, only the 4th touchdown scored in the first period by the Patriots in their last 12 games. They are not a first-period team, to be sure.
You lose games in the first quarter, Phil, and you win them in the fourth quarter.
Short kickoff. The ball will bounce. Mike Martin, it is heading out of bounds. And the Bengals will have the ball. It's even better than a return, as Martin had the foresight to shove it out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
I have wondered why the Pats do not use the vertical game with the speed that they have. But watch this pass, and all it is speed. Now watch Morgan. Concentrate, reach out, pull the ball in, and that was speed and concentration, and Ray Horton, number 20, didn't have a chance. I think they need to do this more often right now.
Take a look at that score by quarters. The Bengals outscoring the opposition 2-1. The Patriots being outscored badly in the first period. Here come the Bengals at the 24-yard line. Larry Kinnebrew bangs his way out near the 30-yard line, and he's knocked down here. Let's go back to that graphic a little more. Take a look at the first period for the Bengals, 115 points. In the fourth period, they're being outscored. Now look at the Patriots. The exact opposite is true. A lackluster team in the first period, but oh, Sam, they pour it on in the final 15. Second down and 6 yards to go. A flag is down, and Kinnebrew finally is hammered down. Very close to the first down area. Andre Tippett and Larry McGrew combined to bring Larry Kinnebrew down. Kinnebrew weighing in at about 275, 80 pounds in his third year out of Tennessee State. And the flag will go against the Bengals. Sam, do you share some people's sentiment that Larry Kinnebrew has got to get his weight down to be more effective?
No question about it. They had the same experience with Pete Johnson.
Illegal motion, number 21 on the up. Still second down.
Larry Kinnebrew is a big, strong back, and much in the mold of a Paul Brown theory. Paul Brown always believed in having that big, strong back where you can get that critical yardage. You get a lot of people who run outside, but you need that big, strong back. He's just got to stay away from Dunkin' Donuts.
Who's going to tell him?
You are, Phil. You asked the question.
Double tight end for Cincinnati. There's Kinnebrew again, and he is knocked off his feet by Garen Barris. The rookie out of Stanford. A submarine shot on Kinnebrew. And again, the Bengals line up with no huddle. Third down and 13.
Go down to 12.
Bengals making big changes. Now here comes Martin. Collinsworth coming into the ball game. So is Steve Kreider. Cincinnati abandoning the double tight end formation. 12 seconds left now on the 30-second clock. 8, 7. Esiason will have to hurry. They're inside 5. And he just got it. Almost intercepted. Eddie Brown, the intended receiver. Instead, he almost found Rod McSwain. Boy, McSwain is a lucky man to be in uniform today.
Watch Boomer right now. He's a little off focus, but he finds him. But there's 2 people around. But had he thrown that ball upfield, James and McSwain were not in the position to intercept that. That would have been a completion to Eddie Brown.
Reason why I say McSwain lucky to be in uniform, his car hit an ice patch Friday night here in the Boston area, slid off the road, and he suffered just a little minor cut on the bottom of his chin. Could have been much, much worse. Pat McAnally to kick it away to Irving Fryer. He's returned 2 for touchdowns already this year. A knuckleball punt. Fryer at the 40. You want to know why number 80 is on his way to the Pro Bowl. That's why.
And this was a knuckleball. Now watch the speed. Watch the speed. Get outside the wall. Once you get outside the wall, find a running lane. Watch his eyes now. He's looking to cut back right there. He just doesn't have it. Now he goes back. He makes as much as he can. But Irving Fryer can beat you many ways.
Well, the crowd is roaring. They have just gotten word that the Browns are beating the Jets at the Meadowlands. Craig James has the football, but not for long. Eddie Edwards jumped right on his back. Eddie Edwards, 8.5 sacks coming into this ball game, a #1 pick back in 1977 out of Miami.
He's an impact player, Phil, for many years now. He makes the big play. This is a counter play, and Eddie Edwards is just too fast. Too much speed. He's a big, strong, very mobile defensive end, and they counted on him not being able to catch Craig James.
2 minutes, 45 seconds to play. 10-3, Patriots looking for more. Little post pattern intended for Stephen Starring. Lewis Breeden on the coverage. And I told you about the goings-on at Giant Stadium at the Meadowlands. How about that? It is 7-3 Cleveland over the Jets. Ryan Brennan, a 37-yard punt return there, has given the Browns a lead. Miami continuing to lead the Buffalo Bills at the Orange Bowl 7-0. Eason, 2 of 4, 55 yards. One of them a 50-yard bomb to Stanley Morgan for the go-ahead touchdown. Cincinnati with 5 defensive backs on 3rd and 15. Eason now lets it go. Pass complete to Tony Collins, but tremendous pursuit by the Bengals defense. Emmanuel King on the tackle, but Eason fortunate to get that pass off.
They're going to put a lot of pressure on Grogan. Now the pressure comes from the outside. He avoids it now. He reloads, gets the ball to Eason. Now watch them close. Nice tackle right there by number 90, Emmanuel King, and they've got to line up and kick the field goal. Good
This will be a tough call.
Good defensive series by Cincinnati.
Tony Franklin kicking into a brutal win. This from 42 yards away. Oh, he got it all. But he pushed it off. That'll stop the timepiece with 1:49 to play. We've got a 10-3 Patriot ball game. Any question this ball club is in the hunt for a playoff spot? Tony Franklin misses from 42 yards away on the disgust registering right there. So the Cincinnati Bengals will take control of the football, and their wide receivers, Sam, are employing the use of these, actually what look to be like diver's gloves.
Yeah, they're actually scuba gloves. They came into play about 4 or 5 years ago, and they actually give the receivers a good feel for the ball. But I'm an old-timer, Phil. I like to take those gloves and just throw them away and play with your hands. That's the natural field.
Esiason. The baseball slide at the 31-yard line. Don Blackman on the stop. Boomer runs for about 5 yards. Minute 27 seconds remaining. Clock running into first period. Eddie Brown splits to the top of your screen. Collinsworth now goes in motion. Esiason. He has got Collinsworth, and the ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage. Oh, Chris was running free. And while they regroup, let's go to Bob Costas for this update. Bob, what's going on?
Here's what's happening, Phil. Dave Jennings punts out of his own end zone for the Jets. Brian Brennan of the Browns takes it at the 37 and doesn't stop until he's back into that end zone. Jennings is the last man with a crack at him. Can't catch him. It's 7-3 Browns late in the first.
All right, Bob, we thank you for that update. Situation here in Foxborough, 10-3 Patriots. Third down and 5 for the Bengals. Esiason with good time to throw. Hits his big tight end, Rodney Holman, his second catch of the afternoon. He will be, I believe, about a yard short of the first down. Ronnie Lippett on the tackle.
It's going to be very close, and I don't like the spot. Did not like the spot. Absolutely amazing how those officials can, by inches, make a decision between the difference of keeping the ball and having to punt.
I take it by that statement, you think he had the first down by plenty?
I think he had the first down, and I didn't like the way the official on the sideline spotted the ball. I thought he clearly was across the 35, but it's all academic.
And right there, Red Cashin accidentally kicked it.
You think he heard me, Phil?
So with 52 seconds to play, the Cincinnati Bengals have a first down. They will retain possession. Esiason, thus far, 3 of 9, 38 yards. On the 35-yard line, again, the Bengals employing the no-huddle offense, as they have throughout the first period. Draw play. Brooks put down at the line of scrimmage. Andre Tippett put a shoulder into his knees at the 36, and Jimmy dove ahead to the 38. What can you say that hasn't already been said about that man right there? Andre Tippett, his 4th year out of Iowa. Incidentally, his Hawkeyes, the Iowa Hawkeyes, are heading for the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, and you'll see it here New Year's Day on NBC. Brooks, the sweep left. And the Patriots pursue. And you can thank Don Blackman, Sam Ritigliano, and he was not even in on the stop.
Don Blackman and Tippett are 2 outside linebackers that are defensive ends. They have the strength and power to play as defensive ends, and they have the mobility to play as a linebacker.
End of the first period, and it's the Patriots on top of the Bengals by a touchdown. Here's a look at that Cincinnati offensive machine huddled around Sam White on the near sideline. I'll tell you, they don't go out to the field of play until the moment they have to get there.
And the reason for that is they don't want to see who the running backs and who the receivers are in the game. Could it be 4 wide receivers? Could it be 2 wide receivers and a tight end? Could it be a single back?
The Patriots owning the statistical edge and a touchdown lead as we begin the second period of play here in Foxborough. The Bengals with the second best total offense in the National Football League, going after the New England Patriots with the 6th most prolific defense in the league. Esiason right across the middle. Mike Martin has the ball at the Patriots 32-yard line. Fred Marion, a touchdown, saving touchdown.
You have 4 wide receivers on the line of scrimmage. He's searching now for the one-on-one. Where's the one-on-one? You have a wide receiver isolated on the free safety, and this football team, Cincinnati, as we said on the top, is a vertical team. You're going to have big plays. They may not make it on 1st or 2nd down, but they have 1 down within the series to make a big play, and they'll get into a scoring contest with the Pats.
A 28-yard pickup. Marion, a touchdown saving tackle at the 32-yard line. Kinnebrew, flags flying all over the place. Look at Larry go to the 20-yard line. Runs for 12, a first down, but I believe it's going to be called back. Red Cashin stops the clock. And while they sort things out, let's go to Bob Costas. Bob, folks around here are pulling for a Cleveland victory in New York.
Then they won't be pleased by this news, Phil. Ken O'Brien throws deep. Looks like an interception for Don Rogers. But Kurt Sohn enters Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, takes his possessions away, and the Jets have a 39-yard touchdown. Back to you, Phil.
Sam, obviously, Bob Costas unaware this is the holiday season. He is not supposed to be the bearer of bad tidings. 14:04 to play. First half here in Foxborough. Cincinnati threatening to tie the ball game. It is first down at the 20. The flag was against the New England Patriots, so the 12-yard pickup by Kinnebrew stood. And it is Kinnebrew again through the left side, following Brian Blados and Anthony Munoz. Fred Marion on the tackle. Boy, people around the Patriots organization visibly upset that Fred Marion will not be a part of the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, Sam.
The players and the coaching staff, he had 7 interceptions. He had 3 recovered fumbles, had 82 tackles. He's had a banner year for his first year. As a matter of fact, they let a #1 draft choice, Rick Sanford, go to put him in at free safety.
Again, it is Kinnebrew. Same exact play following Blados and Munoz. This time it is Julie Adams and Fred Marion combining on the tackle. Well, what a career it has been for Julie Adams, 15th year out of Texas Southern. You go back in his 15 years, how are these numbers for you? 874 tackles. How about Sam Ratigliano? 84.5 career sacks.
Without question. I was here in 1971 when we drafted Julius Adams, and he's as fine a man as he is a football player.
Esiason 4 of 10 for 66. The crowd here chanting defense. It is Kinnebrew diving across the top inside the Patriots 10. A first down for the Bengals. Again, it is Julie Adams. Boy, that is weight versus weight going at each other.
Anthony Munoz on Julius Adams like 2 apartment houses, and now Julius Adams has to come off and tackle Kinnebrew. That's like trying to recover off a block of an Angus and another Angus running right at you. That's tough on Julius, but he's big enough to do it.
Talking about Angus's, that's where Julie Adams is going to raise black Angus's in Macon, Georgia. That's Brooks in motion. And Kinnebrew in motion. And when he goes in motion, holes open up. This time it is Steve Nelson with the touchdown-saving tackle at the 5-yard line. Second down and goal. Cincinnati trailing 10-3. 11:45 to play in the first half. Kinnebrew now 7 carries for 29 yards.
You look for the isolation outside right now to either Collingsworth or Brown.
That's James Brooks. Brooks bounce to the outside, and Marion bounces him out of bounds.
Kinnebrew now is blocking for Brooks. Now watch him take on the outside, the strong safety. Now he bounces to the outside, and look at the speed of Fred Marion. He came from the middle of the defense to make the play, and Phil, that's what a free safety has to do. He's unblocked. He has to make those kind of plays, and he's been doing that all year long.
Now from the I formation, Kinnebrew the up back. Little flare pass, James Brooks. He is hit in the backfield by Jimmy Bowman, but escapes the tackle and moves it to the 4-yard line. Again, it is number 31, Fred Marion, who Sam missed virtually all week with the flu in what was a shortened week already for the Patriots.
Now watch Boomer right here. He's looking to throw in the end zone. There's no one there. He lays the ball off to Brooks. Now Brooks has to get it, stopped by Claiborne, 26, but here comes Freddie Marion to make the stop, and now Cincinnati has to line up and kick a field goal. It's a 4-point swing again.
Reason why it was a shortened week for New England, remember, they played Monday night in Miami. Breach thus far on the year, 6 of 7 from this range. He's 1 for 1 today from 42 yards. Ryder puts it down, And Breach sends it through. That stops the clock with 10:26 to play in the second period. And it's the Cincinnati Bengals now within 4.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Nikon, we take the world's greatest pictures. And by Visa, accepted worldwide for shopping, dining, and travel. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Nearly 60,000 on hand here at Sullivan Stadium for the 16th and final game, and the ball falls right off the tee as Jim Breach approached it. That's something we used to do in Sandlot ball a lot.
I have seen kickers at times hit the ball and fall into a unplanned onside kick. But fortunately, Jim Breach took that bad pitch and didn't hit it.
This time Breach gets it, whistles a line drive. Taken at the 12-yard line by Starling. He's across the 25, across the 30, and knocked down there. Emmanuel King on the tackle. So here comes Tony Eason and company. Now the Browns have come back to tie the Jets at 10 apiece at Giant Stadium at the Meadowlands midway through the second period. Miami not by much over the Bills. Of course, Sam, you and I saw Buffalo and the Steelers play last week, and Buffalo gave Pittsburgh all the Steelers wanted early on in that ball game. Detroit and Chicago, the Lions just about unbeatable underneath the Silverdome in Pontiac. Greg James through the right side, this time following Ron Wooten and Steve Moore. You talk about Steve Moore, he and Brian Holloway, the only two on that Patriot offensive line that have played every game this year.
They were a maligned offense coming out of camp, but they do such an outstanding job of drafting talented players that they were able to substitute and just keep winning.
Second down and 5 from the 38. James knocked down by Reggie Williams.
Down by number 57, Reggie Williams.
3 years in a row, the Bengals Man of the Year.
Watch Craig James bounce to the outside. Now watch Reggie Williams came off the block by Collins and made the play. Tony Collins, the lead back, has got to block the outside linebacker, and Reggie Williams was able to avoid him and come up for a negative play for the Pats. I don't know why the Pats do not throw the ball up field vertically. They have outstanding speed outside.
Now the Bengals think they're going to go long. They have 7 defensive backs in the ball game. Eason looking deep. Now sprints out. He'll run for a bunch. Eason for 21 yards. To the Bengals' 44-yard line, John Simmons ran him out.
When you have all the defensive backs there, they can't cover the run. There's no place to go, and this is what a good athlete at quarterback can do for you. Now he's pointing upfield. He doesn't want to run upfield. Run out of bounds, Tony. It's a lot better there. He's got a key first down after a 21-yard run.
Raymond Berry looking on. He knows his Patriots can get to the playoffs with a victory. Here comes Collins. And there was just a great bit of work by Jeff Shue, fighting off a block, threw his blocker off and nailed the ball carrier. Jeff Shue in his 5th year out of Minnesota, 3.5 sacks on the year. Well, at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, it's the Chiefs all over the Chargers, 21-3.
Where it'll be second down.
Early in the second period at Arrowhead. Second down and 10. Ball spotted at the Cincinnati 44-yard line. Here comes James. Fumbles the football. The Bengals have it, and they can go all the way.
Recovered by number 91.
Reggie Williams with the hit. Xander picked up the loose football and carried it all the way to the 16-yard line.
Xander down was Tony Eason.
Eason, the guy who knocked him out of bounds.
Now here's James now breaking through now. Reggie Williams makes the tackle, and that's why that ball is shaped that way. Look how it bounces right up in the hands of Carl Zander. Now he just wished he had another gear. If he would have had another gear, he would have had a touchdown, because that was the quarterback that knocked him out of bounds.
Zander, a rookie out of volunteer land. He gives the Bengals new life with that 34-yard fumble return. 1st and 10 Cincinnati at the Patriots 16. 8:03 to play, first half. Esiason looking right, now looking back to the left. It is intercepted. Ronnie LePet.
Esiason, number 7, making the tackle. 1st and 10 Patriots. They will be in Bengals territory at the 30.
So the Bengals, employing the true meaning of this holiday season, being that it is better to give than to receive, have given the ball up to the Patriots at the 30-yard line.
And Boomer Esiason, Collingsworth was not open. He forced the football.
That's Tony Collins.
Collins met by number 73, Eddie Edwards.
The Patriots, 10-5 on the year, 6-1 at home.
Watch Collingsworth now. He can run. He actually closes and makes a game-saving tackle, slows him down, and Boomer makes the final touches. But Chris Collingsworth was 5 yards behind Ronnie LePet.
Second down and 8 from the 28. Cincinnati with 5 defensive backs. Eason. That's Collins. And the Bengals defense closes in a hurry. James Griffin led the charge. Reggie Williams also in the neighborhood, as was Ross Browner.
Number 22, James Griffin. Spotted at the 22-yard line to pick up a 6.
This Bengals defensive unit, Sam, they have given up 20 or more points in 12 of their 15 games.
They've given up a total of 403 points, and very frankly, that's why Cincinnati is not in the playoff picture.
You go back just 3 weeks ago, they were the odds-on favorite to win the AFC Central. Tupu tries to sweep the left side, moves the ball near the 20-yard line. I believe he's got the first down. Ross Browner and Reggie Williams converge to tackle him.
Tackle on to Tupu. It's a first down for the Patriots.
Moses Mooses. The end zone, folks. Tupu been around these parts 8 years. Out of Southern Cal, he is to Raymond Berry's ball club certainly what John Riggins is to Joe Gibbs in Washington.
One of the finest role players, special team players in the National Football League.
Eason 4 of 6 now for 61 yards and a touchdown. That's James. He dives across the 10-yard line, and I believe he's picked up another Patriot first down. A 12-yard run. Ron Simpkins cuts his legs out from under him.
He's running on the right side behind Steve Moore and Ron Wooten, and now all he is doing is running straight to the goalpost. And apparently a fine hole open for him, and they ran right at the Cincinnati defense with a first and goal on the 7-yard line, and that interception by Boomer Esiason may be staring Cincinnati in the face in the 4th quarter. Reverse.
Collins. Nothing doing. John Hanna simply could not get out in front quick enough.
I don't know why you want to go east and west when you're going so well right at Cincinnati's team. Why go from sideline to sideline when you're doing so well going right at the defense?
And goal from the 9.
Second down and goal now from the 9-yard line, just outside the 9 with 4:24 to play in the first half. Stay tuned. NFL 85 coming your way at halftime.
Patriots.
Touchdown run for Tony Collins, and it's a play, Sam Ratigliano, that has been around football for as long as I've been around.
It was a misdirected play. They went to James on the right. Collins came to the left for a touchdown, and that interception just cost Cincinnati 7 points.
Two Cincinnati miscues, and the Patriots have turned them into 10 points here in this ball game. We'll be back to Foxborough. They are on their feet here in New England as Franklin lets it sail. It'll be Mike Martin at the 6-yard line. A flag is down at the 22 as Martin crashes across the 26. Well, as if the Bengals weren't having enough problems, they'll now be penalized way inside their own 20.
This is a counter play. Now watch 33 go right up inside that block by 67 Steve Moore, and look at the power of Collins. 2 years ago, he was a 1,000-yard rusher. He's used mostly as a receiver right now, but an excellent running back, and he spikes the ball, and that came as a result of Boomer Esiason's interception.
For Collins, only his 3rd touchdown rushing this year. Here come the Bengals as you look at the Patriots scoring drive. It took them over 3.5 minutes to go just 30 yards. It was Collins' 9-yard touchdown run that has sent New England out to a 17-6 lead over Cincinnati. And motion is Kinnebrew. James Brooks has the football, and he is grabbed by the shoulder pads at the 11-yard line by Don Blackman. Now, the Patriots had to wonder not long ago, Sam, how effective their defense would be when Ken Sims went out injured. It caused some major reshuffling.
Now watch, we'll get back to that. Watch number 55. Watch the power and balance. He's actually beaten. Watch him grab him by the shoulder and just throw him to the ground. They are two of the most physical linebackers in the league, Blackman and Tippett.
Pass intended for Eddie Brown, tipped up in the air by Ronnie Lepet.
Ken Sims was a major loss, but again, the Patriots draft so well. Garen Varus came right in and took over for him, and they have gone without even a pause. Now the ball is overthrown. As a matter of fact, Eddie Brown gets his hand in there because Lepet could have intercepted that pass.
Well, this is the area where Boomer Esiason will have to be so very, very careful. 3rd down and 12. He is 5 for 13. Boomer lets it go. James Brooks has it at the 16. Crosses the 20-yard line, and he will be down short of the 1st down by Steve Nelson.
Rolling James along with Steve Nelson.
So McInally and the punting team of the Cincinnati Bengals is on the way. And look out, number 80, Irving Fryer, is back at his own 38-yard line. He had a big return in the first period, a 40-yard job.
37, Pat McInally will be punting.
There's a man who is on his way to the Pro Bowl, one of 7 New England Patriots, destined for the Aloha Bowl.
The punt returner,
the Pro Bowl.
The punt returner on the Patriots is just another extension of their offense. And Pat better make sure that he doesn't kick one of those blue darters that are returnable.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. He shanked it. That punt was hardly 13 yards, maybe 14 yards. Officially a 13-yard punt.
The Patriots will have the ball on offense.
Pat probably was a little bit taken by the return. Now let's watch him. Watch the concentration now. He should get his foot in there and hit the sweet spot, but it hits off the side of his foot. Now watch Pat's reaction. He knows right now, just like a good golfer, that wasn't a good punt.
Sam, that is what an intimidating punt returner like Irving Fryer will do.
And it's on the mind of the kicker.
Collins moves across the right side. He is inside the Cincinnati 27-yard line near the 6. Jerry Boyarsky with help from Jeff Shue. An 8-yard pickup for Collins. And that stops the clock with 2 minutes to play in the first half. Tony Collins, 7 carries for 46 yards. The Patriots banging on the door once more.
Patriots have 3 timeouts remaining, and the Bengals have.
And last Saturday, the man to my right, Sam Ratigliano, was a part of NFL 85 when Bob Costas talked to NFL coaches who had recently been fired. Coming up at halftime, Bob will talk to the coach who was most recently let go, St. Louis's Jimmy Hannafin. All of that coming up next here on NFL 85. Through the left side goes Craig James. He is brought to the turf by Robert Jackson.
For the Bengals, number 37, Robert Jackson.
Clock running, a minute 44, a minute 43 to play in the first half here at Foxborough, Massachusetts. Score, Patriots 17, Bengals 6. For New England, if you've just joined us, they are in a must-win mode. It makes absolutely no difference what they accomplished in the first 15 weeks of this season. James tries to run in behind Holloway, does not get much. In essence, Sam, it is a one-game season for Raymond Berry's ball club.
Without question, today is going to be just like the tournament. You lose one game, you're out. It's important for Cincinnati right now. If New England scores, this thing could be a blowout. It could be too much for them to overcome Cincinnati because of the defense of the Patriots.
Boy, what a difference a week makes. Last Sunday at RFK Stadium, the Bengals jumped out to that big 24-3 lead over the Redskins and then folded up their tent. There goes James. Looked like a big hole on the right side, but the rookie out of Tennessee, Carl Zander, filled it quickly. And the Patriots want a timeout, and that stops the clock with 49 ticks remaining. So Eason will trot over to the far sideline to talk things over with Raymond Berry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to.
There's the situation. 49 seconds to play in the first half. It's a 17-6 Patriots ball game. The Bengals with 3 timeouts, the Patriots with 2. Eason now out of the shotgun. New England employing 3 wideouts. Coming to the near side, it is Collins, and he cannot hold on to the football. And that will stop the clock with 44 seconds to play. And here comes Tony Franklin on 4th down and 5. Franklin, his 2nd consecutive year over the century mark. Tony this year 8 of 8 from this range. This will come from 30 yards away with a wind at his back, and a pretty brisk wind at that. He lets it go. And he splits the yellow posts. Clock is halted. 40 ticks to play. And the Patriots are stretching it out.
Select your seats now for this holiday weekend.
Turnovers have certainly played a part on this ball game right there. Raymond Berry, Sam, a guy who simply, when he played in Baltimore, did not know the meaning of the word turnover. In 13 illustrious years, he had one, count 'em, one fumble.
And I used to tell our receivers at Cleveland that all the time, that there's no reason to fumble because Raymond Berry played an entire career and just fumbled the ball one time.
A great technician, a tireless worker, and he has taken those skills he employed as a player and put them into play as a head coach here in New England. At the 4-yard line, it is Mike Martin. Bengals would like a big return. They'll not get it to the 29-yard line where he is wrestled to the ground.
Martin taken down by
Rod McSwain on the tackle.
Bengals offense. They will put the ball in
Franklin
play.
with 110 points now. As I said a moment ago, 4th year in his career he has been over the century mark. 2nd consecutive season. Well, they've had some good kickers here in New England. John Smith prior to Tony Franklin. Here comes Esiason and the Bengals with the no-huddle offense. Patriots screaming, trying to change the defensive coverage, and Esiason sees it. But the play already called. It is James Brooks, and look at the Patriots shut it down. Steve Nelson with help from Garen Varus.
Nelson and Garen Varus were in on the tackle.
I'm surprised with 3 timeouts in decent field position that Cincinnati has chosen right now to go to the locker room with a 20-6 lead. 20-6 lead by the Patriots.
Now the Bengals will elect to let the time expire. That's it. We have completed the first 30 minutes of play here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and it's the Patriots over the Bengals 20-6. And Sam, one thing we thought we would see early on, a question I asked you during our open, would Boomer Esiason and the Cincinnati Bengals be able to employ that vertical passing attack?
And they've done a good job the first half. 3 things have happened. Brooks fumbled, cost him a field goal. Boomer threw an interception, cost him a touchdown. And Pat McInally had a very poor kick, 13 yards, and it cost him a field goal. So the takeaways have given the Pats 13 points in the first half.
Well, the Cincinnati Bengals putting points on the board to the tune of 28+ per game. But it has been a very, very stingy New England Patriot defense. They came in the 6th best defense in the National Football League. And oh boy, they are living up to that number thus far here in this ball game. We'll be back with more after these messages from your local station. Well, the New England Patriots, it is halftime here at Foxborough, trying to ring in the holiday season in the right way. And there's a man right there, gimpy knee and all, on crutches, Steve Grogan. Earlier this week, a quarterback of the New England Patriots received an honor that is just absolutely astounding. A chance to perform with the Boston Pops Orchestra. And it was a day that I'm sure Steve Grogan will long remember. Take a look. This happened earlier this week with the Boston Pops.
It was the night before Christmas when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug, and I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Hannah, now Morgan, now Friar and West. On Nelson, on Brock, on Collins and Tippett. To the top of the
Well, I had no idea the reindeers' names had been changed. Sam, did you? Were you apprised of that?
Well, one of those reindeers got in the end zone, Morgan, in the first quarter. So Steve was right.
I'll tell you what, he may not guide Santa's sleigh come Tuesday night, but he has certainly guided the New England Patriots sled thus far through the first 30 minutes of play. The New England Patriots coming in a must-win situation, and they are getting a winning effort from that offense today and an equally superb effort from a defense.
Yeah, it's very interesting how they threw the bomb to Morgan, and they're running Tony Collins, which they haven't done all year long. But Cincinnati has tremendous scoring power, and a 14-point deficit is no big deal for the Bengals.
You talked last week. Let's go back, case in point, last Sunday, RFK Stadium. You Cincinnati Bengal fans saw that ball club move out to a 24-3 lead early in the second period. And then Sam Wyche and company sort of closed up their shop and went home for Christmas. And you wonder if perhaps that could happen to the Patriots today.
It could happen to the Patriots, but I think there's a great deal at stake. And I'm sure Raymond Berry said at halftime, the score right now is 0-0. We have 30 minutes of work to do before we can even think about playoff time.
Well, you talked about that big play in the first half. There were none bigger. First period, following a turnover, it was Tony Eason, and what a play it was. He unloaded.
It's a play-action pass. It's something the Patriots don't do with Fire and Morgan. And watch Morgan now reach out with tremendous concentration, and that's a big play part of their offense, and I think it's something they've got to think about for the playoffs and certainly next year.
We've talked about the Patriots' need to go to the vertical game, and as Sam said a moment ago, they would be well advised to get that thing into the playbook before the playoffs began. There are the first half statistics. Look at total yards. The Patriots out by a bundle. Turnovers, the Bengals with 2. Both of them have led to Patriot scores. Mike Martin, the second half kickoff, and we are underway. Taken out of bounds by Tony Franklin. A big return for the Bengals to the New England 47-yard line. And as Sam said a moment ago, the Bengals are going to need a big second half, and they get the second half underway in a big way. A 44-yard return.
Cincinnati
Esiason
pardon me, Phil, Cincinnati comes back right now and gets on the scoreboard, you have a football game.
Esiason first half, as you saw, 6 of 14. There's James Brooks, and he finds running room to the Patriot 35. Fred Marion on the tackle. Marion had 5 stops in the first half. James Brooks said to me down on the field before today's game, I said, James, you only need 120 yards to hit the century mark. He said, you know, Phil, still, nobody respects me.
Until he gets into a winning situation and gets into the playoffs, the media will respect him, but there's a lot of football players and coaches that respect James Brooks.
First down, Cincinnati at the New England 35-yard line. Kennebrew in motion. Brooks has the football, and he motors down near the 31. Garin Varus, the rookie out of Stanford, with help from Steve Nelson. I want to talk about James Brooks just a moment. Here's a guy who was drafted by the Chargers back in 1981 as a rookie, led the NFL in total yards. And then 2 years ago, San Diego said, we don't need you anymore. And they trade him to Cincinnati for Pete Johnson. Why?
Well, apparently James Brooks had some problems contractually, and San Diego let him go because Pete Johnson's no longer playing football.
Kennebrew is hit in the backfield and dropped at the 34-yard line. Andre Tippett. Opposing quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs voted that man right there the AFC's top linebacker. Number 56, Santa Claus.
Ball is at the 33. Third down and 9 for the Bengals.
Last week, Tippett ticked up sacks number 15.5 and 16.5, dropping Marino a couple of times. There's Brooks in motion on 3rd and 9. It is caught. Eddie Brown for the 5. Touchdown, Cincinnati. As we said a moment ago at halftime, this Bengal offense has quick strike capability, and you saw it right there.
This is a quick slant. Watch Boomer. 1, 2, 3. Deliver the ball right between the linebackers. And now watch Eddie Brown's athletic ability. He can catch the football and accelerate. And Raymond Claiborne could not keep him out of the end zone. And now it's 20-13. And we said at the top of the show, Eddie Brown and Chris Collingsworth were as good as any duo in the National Football League. And I said they were better.
Flags are down. Hold everything. If it's against the Patriots, they'll walk it off on the kickoff. And I believe it will be against New England. And I want to take you to task over that statement you made. Let's listen to Red Cashin. Offside against the Patriots. They'll walk it off on the kickoffs. So the clock stops with 12:40. I'll get back to that point about Sam's statement regarding Collingsworth and Eddie Brown in a moment.
Today's game is brought to you by Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Plymouth, the pride is back, born in America again. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by IBM and the growing family of IBM personal computers.
The Bengals back within a touchdown. It's 20-13. At the 15-yard line, it is Greg Hawthorne, his first return this afternoon. He moves the football out across the 27. Sam Rutigliano said a moment ago, that duo right there, Brown and Collingsworth, perhaps the best in all of football. Sam, better than Clayton and Duper, better than Lips and Stallworth, better than Walker and Toon.
They can do all the things that the three that you mentioned. They're young and they have good size and tremendous athletic ability and speed. Both of them, Collingsworth was a quarterback, and Eddie Brown could be a great punt and kickoff returner.
From the 28-yard line, it is first down for the Patriots. Greg James across the 28. But let me ask you one other duo, even better than Joyner and Wes Chandler and that machine out in San Diego.
Well, Charlie Joyner is like a train. Eventually, he's going to have to stop. These two fellas only have Eddie Brown's in his first year and Chris Collingsworth is in his third. Chris Collingsworth is in his fourth year.
Second down and 9. James through the right side. He is close to first down yardage. A pickup of 8. It'll be third down and call it 1. Bobby Kemp and James Griffin on the tackle. Well, that machine out in San Diego not doing well this afternoon. The Chargers at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, now behind the Chiefs 35-6. Eason 4 of 7, 62 yards, 1 touchdown. Well, the Patriots have just ground it out. Nothing doing. Tutupu. He coughs up the football, but was his knee down? Ray Horton, the first man to hit Tutupu. Dropped way short of the first down, so on comes Rich Camarillo.
Watch
fifth in the
Tutupu
NFL.
right now. He goes to the outside. Watch the play by Horton, number 20, right there. And that is probably one of the better short yardage runners in the league. And they dodged the bullet also because that was fumbled.
But again, Sam, why on third and less than 1 do you run east and west?
I believe all game long their success has been north and south, particularly with somebody like Morsey. And that was a big first down to maintain possession.
Big punt, big punt. That chases Martin back to the 10-yard line. A good return. A 17, possibly 18-yard return to the 28. Clock stops with 10:17 to play here in the third period, and the Cincinnati Bengals have the football. Cincinnati Bengals huddled on the near sideline, still talking things over with Sam Weitz, the offensive coordinator, as well. 10 minutes and 17 seconds to play. It was 20-6 at halftime. The Bengals came right out, put a touchdown on the board early here in the third period. They've got it again at the 27-yard line. Esiason, 7 of 15 for 109 yards. And Sam, quite frankly, I look for the Bengals to go for it early here.
Get the ball to Chris Collingsworth and Eddie Brown, two fine outside receivers.
Pass intended for Collingsworth, overthrown. When Collingsworth made his cut, he was open.
He was wide open on a hook pattern, but Boomer threw it off his back foot, and the ball sailed over Collingsworth.
Look at the Patriots. They're all waving at the crowd. They're all hollering at this crowd. And the 60,000 respond. Second down. Swing pass out to Kennebrew. He is bumped out at the 32-yard line by Roland James. There's about a 75-pound difference. Kennebrew and James. Patriots trying now to make the situation substitution to give right up the middle. Patriots were not even set defensively, and the Bengals won a flag. Andre Tippett on the tackle of Larry Kennebrew.
I think Cincinnati fooled themselves on that play because they really weren't set to try to run for the first down. I think they outsmarted themselves on that play.
It's interesting to watch this Patriots defense. Sam Rutigliano spurring the crowd on.
Jim Breach is going out to punt.
You remember, Pat McInally was hurt last week during the Redskins game. He bruised a hip. He shanked a punt for 13 yards late in the second period. So it is Breach who will kick it away.
Irving Fryer might have a bib on now when he sees Breach punting.
We're going to have a delay of game against Cincinnati. Back them up 5 more. And boy, I'll tell you, you don't want to give Irving Fryer that much room. Fryer came into today's game. Boy, Weitz is livid. as the NFL's top punt returner. And he has already brought a punt back 40 yards today. Cincinnati, that's the third penalty of the game against the Bengals. The Patriots have yet to see a yellow flag. Breach, his first punt of the afternoon. Oh, it's not a good one either. Fryer will just back away. Now, actually, the punt will not be that bad as it rolls inside the 29, 28, and down at the 27-yard line. A 42-yard punt by Jimmy Breach. Probably 20 yards of it via the roll. 9:02 to play in the third period. It's the Bengals down by a touch.
We see Pat McInally on the sideline. He injured his hip last week, and apparently he had a problem with it in the first half, and he's not going to be able to come back. He had a 25-yard punt that resulted in a score for the Patriots, and now Jim Breach is the punter, and I look for the Patriots when they get into a punt situation to have a dual safety back there, as Sam White is on the sideline now talking to his offense.
First down, New England at their own 27. Tony Collins to the left side. He goes right in off Pete Brock's left hip, in between Brock and Hanna. Not much running room. There's the situation at Giant Stadium. The Jets on top of Cleveland, 17-10. Early third period action there. And Miami will unquestionably capture the AFC Eastern Division title if that score holds. Chicago downing Detroit. Philadelphia over Minnesota by 10 in the second period. 8:28 to play here in the third. It's 20-13 New England. Eason unloads. He's got his tight end, Lynn Dawson. And Dawson has it across the 43 near the 44. Glenn Cameron and Bobby Kemp knocked Dawson to the ground, but not before he picks up 13.
Tony Eason is a tight end oriented quarterback. He throws the ball a great deal to Derek Ramsey and to Len Dawson. I don't think the Patriots should sit on the ball and just run it. They have too much firepower, and they should get more points on the board.
First down, New England at the 44. Again, Eason looks left. Here's the little swing pass. Overthrows Collins. The ball bounces out of bounds, and that stops the clock with 7:45 to play on the third. Sam, you talked about Eason and his propensity to go to his tight ends and running backs. Why don't they have the vertical game with guys like Fryer, Starring, and Stanley Morgan?
Well, we'll get back to it. Here's the replay. They have a blitz right here. He lays the ball off to the outside, but it's too high. Had he gotten the ball to Collins, it was a little screen. He would have made some yardage. It's just basically philosophy. They have a lot of tools, but they have to use Fryer and Morgan. And here comes the blitz.
Eason reads the blitz, and he reads it perfectly. Morgan has the football, and Lewis Braden, who was burned and burned repeatedly last Sunday against Washington, just slams Morgan to the turf.
Watch everybody coming from the inside. Griffin is coming from the inside, number 22. Now watch Eason's presence right. Excellent block by Tony Collins. Get rid of the ball, get it to Morgan, because if he breaks that tackle, he's gone. I like the presence that Tony Eason had on that play. Now they got another third down. Watch the Patriots go right at Cincinnati rather than try to run wide.
Eason now 6 of 10. Third down and 1. And now they're going to throw it. It is caught by Morgan at the 34-yard line.
This is a team that can throw the ball upfield. Now that was a gutsy call on third and less than a yard. Look at the protection. Sits tight right now. Now he drills the ball, and there's the throwing lane right to Morgan. That call really surprised me on third down and less than 1 yard.
I think it surprised over 60,000 in attendance here at Sullivan Stadium. Look at James just crashing and lumbering his way inside the Bengals 20-yard line, a pickup of 13. Boy, every time the Patriots touch the football, they're eating up big chunks now. James with 96 yards.
came into the game with 1,085 yards.
That was third best in the AFC. He is about to go over the century mark again. James for 2. Eddie Edwards and Jeff Shue on the tackle. 5:35 to play. Patriots 20, Bengals 13.
When the Pats have a good blend of all the things they've done thus far, and then on 1st and 10, 2nd and medium, get the ball upfield vertically, they're going to have an unstoppable offense.
You wonder why they don't have the vertical game, and I'd like to get into that as soon as we have a moment. With the wide receivers, Fryer, Starring, and Morgan, you got to wonder why they don't air it out. Eason, this time he'll do just that, and it is intercepted. Rippon's going to bring it out. He's across the 20, the 27-yard line. And Eason, oh, the Patriots knocking at the door. And Tony throws the interception. The Bengals dodge a bullet, for the moment anyhow.
And you might have just had the answer to your question, because you have a young quarterback in a situation right now where you protect for the field goal, and he clearly throws the ball to no one, and Griffin should have stayed in the end zone and gotten out to the 20-yard line. What you worry about right now is a defensive back being stripped of the ball, and that was another key turnover by Eason.
From the 28-yard line, Esiason looking right, comes right. He hits his tight end Rodney Holman. For Holman, his 3rd catch. Ronnie Lepet on the tackle. Well, we said at halftime, Sam, when this team was down by a couple of touchdowns, that they can come back on you.
Watch Tony Eason right now. You saw his reaction on Monday night, and he is really discouraged. You better get over there, Tony, because you might have to tackle.
2nd and 2. This is what the Bengals love, to get you in that short yardage situation. Kinnebrew. Oh, he'll be stopped short of the first down. Don Blackman, outside linebacker on the right side, brings Kinnebrew down.
Watch Don Blackman, number 55. I said earlier, he's a defensive end playing linebacker. Watch this big truck right now. Watch 55. Wham! Whop! Right there. Watch Kinnebrew. You can't stop him, but that shows you the strength of number 55, Don Blackman. Don Shula said it in the game right here that the Pats won, that Blackman and Tippett were the most dominating outside linebackers in the National Football League, and he's right.
Charles Alexander is now in the Cincinnati backfield. And that is Kinnebrew diving out very, very close to the 38-yard line, and it is across the 38, a Cincinnati first down. Now you wonder about this Cincinnati ball club. It's a team that, as I said at halftime, a real Dr. and Jekyll personality. They go out, they lose at the Astrodome to the Oilers badly, then beat them at home 45-27. They whip the Browns at Riverfront 27-10, and then lose a couple of weeks back 24-6. Esiason throws to James Brooks across the 40. He's across the midfield stripe. Spun around, and Brooks a big, big gain to the Patriots 37. Steve Nelson, 12th year out of North Dakota State, on the tackle, a 22-yard gain.
And the reason for that play is athletic ability on the part of the quarterback. Blackman 55 on top. He evades Blackman, finds a receiver. Now watch Brooks add yards. He causes a miss right there. Now he's looking to go back to the inside of the field, causes another miss, adds another 4 or 5 yards, and Cincinnati can tie this football game.
First down from the 37. It has been all Bengals here in the second half. They have made the plays offensively. They have made the plays defensively. Brooks, can he turn the corner? Not this time. Roland James and Don Blackman with help from Andre Tippett.
One of the most important things a linebacker has to have, as Brooks now comes out, is to stay on your feet. And watch Andre Tippett fight those blockers, stay on his feet, and make the play. It takes strength and leverage on the part of the linebackers, and you have to have athletic ability and tremendous upper body strength.
Boomer, 141 yards now, a touchdown and an interception. He would love to get it downfield. 3 wide receivers, one of them heads in motion. That is Eddie Brown. Esiason crossing pattern. James Brooks had it and could not hold it. A little guy out of Auburn had a catchable ball.
He should have made that play. Boomer's going to a short drop. He's laying the ball off right there. He did not concentrate on it. Had he turned his shoulders and got his eyes and hands on the ball and then worried about the hit, he would have had a first down.
You know, forget about the fact that the Bengals had only 6 points in the first half. Remember what this team did to Dallas? They scored 50. They scored 41 against the Chargers and 37 against the Steelers. They put it up. Again, James Brooks had a pass he should have caught.
And he was wide open. He was isolated by Don Blackman, 55. There was a mistake in coverage, and Boomer did not throw a perfect pass to a wide open receiver. Now watch him. You see, he should have been covered by a linebacker. He's at the top of your screen. He's isolated. There's 55. Now watch James Brooks. The ball was thrown a little low, but he has to make that play. And he just had 2 drops, and maybe they had to take those gloves off and throw them away.
Well, you said in the first half you are not a proponent of gloves for wideouts. Jim Breach will punt it away on 4th down and 9. Breach angling for the sideline. Will he get it? Irving Fryer puts the hand up. Oh, look at this. It will be dead inside the 5-yard line. So Breach kills one, a 32-yard punt, only his 2nd punt of the year. And the Patriots will have the football at their own 4-yard line.
Irving Fryer is calling a fair catch, but you're not supposed to block after a fair catch. And Jim Breach now just makes a lousy kick, and it bounces inside the 5-yard line. It's on the 3-yard line, and this could be a good change of field position, providing Cincinnati can hold the Pats. And let's look for a bomb on the first play.
The give is to Robert Weathers. He maneuvers across the 5 near the 7. And while the Patriots unpile, let's go to Bob Costas. Bob?
Phil, moments ago at the Meadowlands, watch this pass, catch, and hit. Ken O'Brien to the rookie Al Toon. Frank Minifield blasts him and keeps him from getting to the goal line. But on the next play, Johnny Hector scored, and it's the Jets, 24-10 in the 3rd. Phil.
Thank you very much, Bob. Situation here, 1:06 to play, 3rd period. New England by a touchdown. Pinned underneath the shadow of their own goal post. It is Mosey to Tupu to the 8-yard line and nothing more. Tim Crumry, probably the only nose tackle in the NFL, Crumry, who leads his team in tackles.
He's very much underrated, and the reason for that is the defense has 403 points scored upon them. Now, if Cincinnati can hold them, they'll get a good exchange, and they'll get the ball at midfield. But this is a key 3rd down for the Cincinnati defense.
That's Weathers. Oh, I believe he got the first down. The Bengals on the year, Sam. In 3rd down situations, that defense has been porous at best. 43% 3rd down conversions.
And this was a big play. They're coming with a blitz, but watch Weathers right now. Put his head down, go north and south. He knows he has to pick up his first down. He drives and makes a key first down because they would have had to kick the ball out of the end zone.
3rd period is history. The score, the Patriots 20 and the Bengals 13. We'll be right back to Foxborough, Massachusetts after these messages from your local station.
News Center 22, Merry Christmas.
They are rocking Sullivan Stadium as we approach the final 15 minutes of play. And look at Irving Fryer get this crowd fired up. First and 10 Patriots at their own 15-yard line. Cincinnati now with 4 down linemen. It is the Chicago Bears style of defense. There's the dancing man in motion. But this time it'll be Craig James who does the dancing around the left side. Reggie Williams and Ray Horton on the tackle. The Patriots, when leading after 3 periods of play, you go all the way back to when this franchise began in 1961, have a record of 78 victories, 7 losses, and 2 ties.
You're reaching down in the bottom of that well, Phil.
There's Craig James, his 4th 100-yard game this year. Eason looking right. There he goes. Fryer. Eason wants a pass interference call. He'll not get it.
He waited too long. Had he gotten this ball up early, it would have been a touchdown. Watch the defensive back. Watch the defensive back. He's not looking back at the ball. He stood in front of Irving Fryer. That was Lewis Breeden, and it looked to me like it was pass interference. But Tony Eason, young quarterbacks do that, Phil. They think they have to wait a long time. Had he gotten that ball up early, Fryer would have had a touchdown.
Eason, 7 of 13, under 100 yards, 98 to be exact. Pressure from Cincinnati. Little shuffle pass. Underhand pitch out to Collins is an incomplete forward pass. So on 3rd down and 7. Here comes Camarillo, and the Bengals will almost certainly, Sam, be assured of great field position.
Let's watch the play. Watch Fryer, the receiver, and watch Lewis Breeden. He's not looking back. He clearly goes in front of him. He's not looking back at the quarterback at all, and that looked to me like pass interference, and the official was right on top of it. And the thing that bothers me more than anything else, Phil, is the inconsistency of that call.
Well, the call in the rule book is very clear. For it to be a face masking call, the defensive back must wave his hands. Camarillo lets it go. It is a short punt. Fair catch by the Bengals. Mike Martin has given Cincinnati tremendous field position at the Patriot 44-yard line.
Today's game is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps. We're looking for a few good men. By the 1986 Volkswagens. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. And by Coors and Coors Light, beers with a difference worth tasting.
Sam Weitz, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, looking on as his ball club has a real opportunity now to tie this one up. 14-35. Esiason play action rolls to the left side. He'll come left, and he has got Eddie Brown inside the 30-yard line. Raymond Claiborne on the tackle. Brown officially the ball spotted at the 26-yard line. Eddie Brown, you go back to his first year at Miami, he was a defensive back, but like Jimmy Hannafin did with Roy Green in the pros, at Miami, they made him a wide receiver.
Outstanding athlete. I'm sure he could play as a corner in the National Football League.
First down, Cincinnati. That's Brooks in motion.
They're going to Brooks.
Flag is down. Brooks is wide open. But a 10-yard line knocked off his feet at the 8. Hold everything. A flag has been dropped at the 26.
That's the exact same play that Brooks dropped before.
Illegal motion. They'll bring it back. What a year.
Illegal motion. Number 21 on the offense. Still first down.
Now, no wonder he got open.
Now watch Brooks. He's coming back. He's going into counter motion. There's just too much movement. He goes forward too fast. When the ball was snapped, he was moving forward, and you can't do that when you're in motion. They have a first down on the 8-yard line. Now it's moved back to the 31-yard line. Big, big negative play.
I'm not so certain he was moving forward. But the only guy's whose opinion counts is the man in the striped shirt. Esiason. Pass intended for Collinsworth. Chris was open. The pass overthrown.
receiving play from Brady Chris Collinsworth.
Let's watch James Brooks now. He's going to come to the center. He's going forward. Now he's going to start forward, and I'll tell you what, you're splitting hairs right there, and that's a very, very difficult call, and it hurts Cincinnati at this point in the game.
What has hurt the Bengals even more than that play by that man right there is the fact that Chris Collinsworth, Sam, has been shut out today.
He's been open, but Boomer has missed him on 3 or 4 occasions.
He's singled up one-on-one with Claiborne. This time Esiason goes to Eddie Brown at the 23-yard line.
They may go for it. They may go for it.
Variant defensive coverage for the Patriots.
Sorry, this is 3rd down. I was not counting the penalty.
This is 23-yard.
3rd down and 8 yards to go.
3rd and 8, the ball nosing the 23-yard line.
This could be an area where they utilize all 4 downs rather than try to kick the field goal.
Brown, Kreider, Collinsworth, and Martin, the wideouts, will not even try to talk over this crowd here in New England. What a time for number 80 to get involved.
If there is a big play in the 4th quarter, that's it. 13-yard game, his first catch. Boomer steps up in the pocket. Now watch him concentrate on this pass. Key first down, and not as easy a catch as you would think, because he was coming to his inside and it was thrown high to his outside. Excellent hands and concentration on the part of Chris Collinsworth. Watch the play-action pass.
Kennebrew nailed at the line of scrimmage by Julius Adams, but Larry turned, bounced off the big man out of Texas Southern, and crossed the 10-yard line.
They're in a tight offense now. They got a lead back. He's blocking. James Brooks is blocking for him. Now watch Kennebrew break the tackle on the part of 55 Blackman and picks up about 2 or 3 yards on his own. They've got to throw the ball here, Phil. They've got to throw the ball 2 or 3 times in the end zone.
Eddie Brown is split out wide to the right. Here comes James Brooks, sweep left, and the Patriots stack him up. Tremendous pursuit by the outside linebacker.
It's difficult to run wide against the Pats because of Tippett and Blackman. Now watch the outside linebacker, 55, stay on his feet. Got a big offensive lineman coming in front of him. Now he stays on his feet, and Lippett comes from the inside 42, and Johnny and Larry McGrew, number 50, and they make the play, and it's a negative play for Cincinnati.
Now, Sam, we were told last night it is Lippett.
I said Lippett, I meant Lippett.
3rd down and 10. Timing pattern all the way. Esiason thought Collinsworth was going to make the break for the flag. He made the break for the post.
It was an option route. The quarterback and the receiver are in silent communication. Chris thought he had the play to the inside. Boomer read it to the outside, and it was just a misread.
Jimmy Breach is on, Sam. In your estimation, 11 minutes, 22 seconds to play. Too early to fake a field goal, or do you go for the sure 3?
I think you go for the sure 3 because you have 11 minutes left in the game.
I would concur wholeheartedly. Breach on the day. 2 for 2. This one from 30 yards away. High snap. Breach gets it up, and he puts it through. So the Bengals have made all the noise here in the second half. They have now crept to within 4 of the Patriots. All right, we appreciate that, Bob Costas. The situation here, 11-17 to play on the ball game. It's the Patriots 20, the Bengals 16. Jim Breach lets everybody know he's ready to go. And the Patriots, it is starting at the 4-yard line. His feet cut out from under him at the 29. And leading the charge, Steve Kreider. So Eason gets a few last-minute instructions from Raymond Berry.
They've been
let me think out loud, Sam, for just a moment. Do you expect them to go long?
I would expect them right now to give the ball to Craig James and Tony Collins and run the football and throw deep, but not medium pattern. Try to hit a home run with Morgan or Fryer.
There you saw the playoff picture. The New England Patriots, a victory today, and they join the Super Bowl tournament. Across the 35 goes Tony Collins. Ron Simpkins drops him. Now the Patriots look all the way across the bottom of your screen to the fourth quarter. The Patriots have outscored the opposition 135-82. Now go up top. The Bengals have been outscored by 33 in the final period.
Well, if the Pats did it for 15 games, this is the most important fourth quarter of the year.
Play action.
There he goes,
Eason. I was thinking about it a moment ago. Would he go long? And it is caught by Stanley Morgan.
Same play as in the first quarter. Play action. Now watch him throw the ball deep and watch the speed by Morgan. Just run the ball down. Now concentrate. Gets the hit by Horton. But again, that's speed. And they should be doing this more often.
A gain of 45 yards for Stanley Morgan. He is over 100 yards for the 26th time. There goes Craig James across the right side. He has moved to the Cincinnati 12. Morgan on today. How about these numbers? 3 catches, 129 yards.
There's a person on the other side, believe it or not, named Irving Fryer that is faster. So the tools are here. They've got a duo that has tremendous potential in the vertical game. And it's helped them today. They've scored 1 touchdown, and they're about to get on the board right now with the score 20-16 in the fourth quarter.
9:01 to play in the ball game. The Jets are winning. The Dolphins are winning. There goes Craig James as he goes down at the 12-yard line trying to make a cut in front of Bobby Kemp. There's the time remaining. And of course the Broncos, the Denver Broncos, while they are far out to the west, very, very much interested in the outcome of this ball game right here.
Exactly. And they're an 11-5 team, and they may not be going to the playoffs. It's important for Cincinnati right now to get out with a field goal, so then they're only 1 touchdown down.
3rd down and 4. Backwards pass. James. Did he score? Touchdown, Patriots! Craig James takes the backwards pass or the lateral, call it what you will, skirts the right side. And the Patriots now up again, this time by 10, a chance to make it 11. That's Jerry Boyarski. Was he drawn offside or did he come on his own?
Encroachment, number 61 on the defense, be a 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
So Tony Franklin will give it another go with 8:13 to play in the ball game. The Patriots 26, the Bengals 16. How in the world do you kick a football with a bare foot when the chill factor is hovering right around the 9-degree mark?
I guess he was hoping he was going to be drafted by Miami or Tampa Bay.
And I guess when you've got a great shot at the playoffs, it warms everything.
Two bombs by Stanley Morgan. Play action pass by Tony Eason. One bomb early in the game for a touchdown. And this bomb after he fakes to Collins. Watch it deep to Morgan. And Morgan just runs it down. And this led to the touchdown in the fourth quarter that put the Pats ahead 27-16.
Ever since
Steve... And that set up this touchdown, and that's why Craig James is a double play back. He can run, but he can catch, and now break the line of scrimmage and run into the end zone for a touchdown.
Sam, when Steve Grogan plays, he calls the plays in the huddle. Since Tony Eason has come on, back in early December, it has really been the play calling of Raymond Berry and the quarterback receivers coach Les Steckel. Look at Irving Fryer. Look at Irving Fryer leading the charge. Today, before the game, Les Steckel told me we've got to get the ball deep against the Bengals.
Well, if Steve Grogan's calling the plays, then it's his responsibility. But if Les Steckel and Raymond Berry are calling the plays, they called two good ones today to Stanley Morgan because it gave them 14 points.
27-16. It's the Patriots by 11. And the playoff dance is underway here in Foxborough. Mike Martin and Stanford Jennings back at their own 9-yard line. It'll be Martin. As the ball goes out of bounds, back it up, penalize the Patriots 5 yards, and we'll go again. Sam, we talk about, as you look at Steve Grogan still on crutches, you talk about the bitter cold. I want to take just a moment while we have a second for the teams to re-cue and thank our NBC crew, NBC Sports. I'll tell you, it's one thing to broadcast a ball game in the heat of summer, the Major League Baseball, indoor basketball, football during the nicer times of the year, but when you start getting into the crunch of the northern winters, our people down on the sidelines, all of our cameramen throughout the stadiums across America,
our hats go off to all of them. This is my first year, and I've been absolutely amazed by how well NBC functions and what a great job everybody does.
Yeah, and I want to thank not only our camera people, but our videotape people, our graphics folks, our unit managers who are with us week in and week out. Today, our producer, Kenny Edmondson, and our director, Andy Rosenberg. It has been a job well done. Martin at the 20. Crosses the 30-yard line and is knocked off his feet at the 32.
They better be careful about that victory dance because Cincinnati can put points on the board fast. One touchdown, and they're right back in this football game.
Boomer Esiason. Second only to the Jets' Ken O'Brien when it comes to quarterback ratings. 25 touchdowns on the year. Only Marino and Fouts have thrown more. Esiason, James Brooks, had it again, and then dropped it. Third time in 2 straight possessions, JB has dropped passes. JB, take those gloves off.
He had 2 drop passes. Now this ball is clearly, they're having a problem with this coverage. He's wide open. Now if he can just hang on to that football, it's a fine juggling act, and he only had 1 ball to juggle. He should have caught it.
That's Kennebrew. Flag is down. Kennebrew is spun upside down. A penalty flag is down at the 43. Clock stops with 7:47 to play in the game. Now this Cincinnati offense, so much is made of the San Diego offense, but I'll tell you, when it comes to innovations, keep the name Sam Wyche firmly implanted in your mind. There, my friends, is an innovator.
Right. He's done an outstanding job. There's no huddle offense, and there's no question when a team scores 418 points, you have to be doing the job offensively. But their big goal in the offseason is to come up with a better defense.
Brown is in motion. Esiason right over the top. It is knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Johnny Rembert.
Boomer's dropping back. I'm surprised a quarterback this tall gets balls knocked down. But watch the play of the linebacker, Johnny Rempert. He just gets up. He can't rush the passer, but he jumps up and knocks the ball down. That's happened 3 or 4 times today.
The Jets are all over the Browns now. It is 27-10 New York. 3rd down and 5, Cincinnati. James Brooks. He has the first down and more at the 45-yard line. Sam, so much you think back to Bill Walsh when he took over the 49ers. His first 2 years there, he had big problems before turning that franchise into a Super Bowl caliber team. Sam White's only in his 2nd year in Cincinnati, and as he told me before today's game, he said, Phil, we're just a couple of elements away. And I think he has the backing in the Queen City to keep the momentum going there.
No question about it. If they can devise any kind of a defense, they'll be the best team, certainly in the Central Division.
Esiason on first down. Again, he and Collinsworth are simply not on the same page today.
Chris Collinsworth has only caught 1 pass, but he's been misfired about 5 or 6 times. He was clearly open, and Boomer Esiason just did not hit him.
For Esiason, his 4th incompletion in a row. 6:50 to play on the ball game. It is 2nd down and 10. The ball nosing at the 45-yard line. Esiason. Little look in. The pass is intended for Steve Kreider. He cannot hold on. A flag is down at the 46. Maybe pass interference against New England.
It's going to be
number 80 on the offense.
Illegal pick on the part of number 80 on offense.
That's Chris Collinsworth.
There's Rod Russ, the defensive coordinator on the sideline, who has done a great job. The sign on the sideline says, "In Rod we trust, Merry Christmas."
You don't think the Chiefs would like to have him back right now?
He was the one coach after being fired when Ron Meyer fired Rod Russ, and the first thing Raymond Berry did when he was hired after Ron Meyer was fired was to bring Rod Russ back. He's an excellent coach. Done a great job with this defense.
6:46 to play in the ball game. Patriots 27, Cincinnati 16. 4 wide receivers for Cincinnati on 2nd down and 20.
Got to get a big play, Phil. They've got to come up with a big play.
Esiason, a sidearm pass. Oh, it was a catchable ball that Eddie Brown dropped. But quite frankly, Sam, it was a pass that was sailing because of the way it was delivered.
Well, Boomer was being pressured from the outside. He moved right up into the pocket. Watch Boomer Esiason right now. You're going to see him appear on the top of your screen. Comes up in the pocket, throws a little sidearm pass. Now let's watch Eddie Brown. He should have made the catch. It was not that high, and it wasn't sailing away. And had he caught the ball, let's watch it again as Boomer now sidearms it. If he catches this ball, he's going to add some yardage. It looks like a screwball, but it should have been caught.
3rd down and 20. Esiason will air it out. Eddie Brown. He's got the football. Out of bounds at the 22-yard line. A big, big play for Boomer Esiason and the Bengals. Fred Marion on the hit. A 42-yard gain, and Brown is slow getting up. Esiason now 14 of 31. He's over 200 yards.
And look at the coverage. That is being covered very well. Watch him stretch out. That takes tremendous concentration because he was covered extremely well by number 23, Rod McSwain, and doubled by Fred Marion.
Boy, the Bengals convert a 3rd and 20 opportunity. Esiason with new life. It is caught by Collinsworth, only his second catch of the day. And it moves the football to the 8-yard line. Another first down. It'll be first and goal Bengals.
They have got to score fast because the clock is what's going against them right now. And that was a 14-yard pass caught by Chris Collinsworth. Here's Boomer Esiason right now. He's throwing a hook pass. Now he delivers the ball. Good follow through. Hits him right between the 8 and the 0. They got a first down on the 8-yard line. They have got to get the ball in the end zone very quickly.
In motion is James Brooks. Esiason looking to the end zone. Eddie Brown had it and could not hold it.
Eddie Brown was wide open. He just threw it a little bit too much to the inside. Had he hit him early, we'd have had a touchdown. Watch Boomer Esiason now. He has a short drop. 1, 2, 3. Now deliver the ball. There's 81 open for a touchdown. Catch the ball first, Eddie, then lay down in the end zone. That should have been caught, and it should have been a touchdown. Good timing on the part of the quarterback.
Second down and goal, Cincinnati. 5:49 to play in the ball game. Esiason. He throws. Touchdown, Collinsworth.
Bengals.
The Bengals, less than a minute ago, staring defeat straight in the eye on 3rd and 20. Esiason completes a 42-yard pass to Eddie Brown, and now 2 plays later, the Bengals are on the scoreboard, and plenty of time left. New England had taken Collinsworth out of the ball game until the 4th period. Chris has 3 catches here in the 4th quarter.
You think the Denver Broncos are watching that scoreboard, particularly this game right now with the Jets out in front 27-10 over Cleveland. If the Pats lose today, Denver is in the playoffs. If
Chris Collinsworth, 3 catches, all of them in the 4th period for 35 yards and a touchdown. His 5th touchdown of the year.
Watch Boomer right now. He's going to wait for Collinsworth to break himself open. He gets good rebound position in the end zone, and that's Raymond Claiborne. Outstanding receiver, Chris Collinsworth. It's just like being under a basket on the goal line. You get good rebound position, and you deliver the ball for a touchdown. It's going to be important now for Sam Weich's team to make sure that the Patriots do not get a good return on this kickoff. And there's the brain thrust right now, talking to Tony Eason. To the right of Tony Eason with the cap on is Rod Humanak, the assistant head coach, and to his left is Raymond Berry. They're going to have to right now keep the ball, run the clock, but don't sit on the ball. Get the ball upfield.
Sam, at this point, you wonder about an element called self-doubt. Last Monday night, Tony Eason, in the closing stages of the Monday night game against the Dolphins, threw the interception. And you wonder now, in a tight ball game with the playoff picture on the line, he'll trot onto the field now with his offensive unit, and you wonder, will that self-doubt, will the images of what transpired last Monday night in the Orange Bowl begin to creep into his mind?
This is a #1 draft choice. Extremely successful at the University of Illinois. He's an outstanding competitor. He's going to be a fine quarterback in this league, and I think he put that game behind him. And now he has an opportunity to win this football game for the Pats and get him into the playoffs. And that's what he's thinking about right now.
It's a 4-point Patriot lead, 27-23 with 5:34 to go in the game. That's Fryer in motion. The pitch is to James. He tries the left side. Ran right out of the tackle of Dron Simpkins and into Ross Browner.
Ross Browner on the tackle.
The Bengals came in ranked number 22 in total defense. Offensively, the Patriots came in ranked 11th in total offense. 5:08 to play. Eason, 8 of 15, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, a 50-yard job to Stanley Morgan, and an interception. There's James again. This time he goes to the right side, following Ron Wooten and Steve Moore. Ron Simpkins and Bobby Kemp converge on the tackles.
You know, Phil, it's hard to believe if the Jets and the Pats win today, the Denver Broncos, with a record of 11-5, will not be in the playoffs. That's hard to believe.
Now the Patriots are a fourth quarter ball club. They have scored at least twice in the fourth quarter in their last 9 ball games. They have scored once in the fourth period today. That's James to the right side. First down and more. Well, we want to welcome some of you who have been watching the Jets and the Cleveland Browns, particularly you folks in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. I'm Phil Stone, along with Sam Rutigliano. 3:55 to play in the ball game, and it's the Patriots on top of Cincinnati, 27-23.
Watch Craig James give a move to Louis Breeden and get that extra yardage, and that is the #1 prerequisite of a good running back, the ability to elude tacklers and make extra yardage, and now they have a key first down.
James with 139 yards today against this Cincinnati defense. That's Mosey to Tupu, nothing there. Maybe a yard. Eddie Edwards on the tackle.
This is a Cincinnati touchdown to Chris Collinsworth. Boomer waits for Collinsworth to bounce off Raymond Claiborne in the end zone for a touchdown.
And the playoff picture as it stands right now, Miami, Cleveland, and the Raiders are in. The Denver Broncos could quite possibly be left out of the playoff picture with an 11-5 record. The Cleveland Browns are in with an 8-8 mark. Doesn't seem fair. Tupu tries to move the ball near the 46. Ross Browner knocks him down.
The Denver Broncos should petition Pete Rozelle for an extra team right now. There's no way in the world a team who has played as well as they have with an 11-5 record not to be in the playoffs.
Assuming the situation that exists right at this moment, Miami is winning. Those of you who have been watching the Jets-Cleveland game, you know New York is laying it on the Browns. If that situation continues and the Patriots win, it'll be New England at New York.
I'm surprised the Bengals have not called a timeout before the 2-minute warning. They have all 3 timeouts.
That's Collins to the left side. He'll be close to the first down, but I don't believe he got it.
They wasted at least 16 to 18 seconds by not calling a timeout.
The 2-minute warning is here. We are not certain whether or not he ran for the first down. I believe he'll be short. The score, 27-23 Patriots. Oh, what a finish we have. Oh, what an important ball game, not only for the Patriots, but for the Denver Broncos. Should somehow the Browns come back and beat the Jets and Cincinnati, and the final 2 minutes come back and beat the Patriots, the Broncos would be in. In fact, if both of those elements did indeed happen, the Jets would play at Mile High Stadium.
There's the brain thrust on the sideline. They're going to go for it, and I believe there comes a time in the game where you have to make less than a yard. I think it's a good call on the part of Raymond Berry. I don't think it's a gamble because it's important to know when to gamble. And right now, they should give the ball to Masi, to Tupu, pick up the first down, because this is a time, if they can gain 6 inches, they can win the game.
Of course, Bronco fans out in the Denver area are hoping the Cincinnati Bengals can shut down the Patriots right here on 4th and inches, because should Cincinnati win and the Jets win, it would be the Broncos heading for Giant Stadium.
If you could get Joe Colliers' short yardage defense in there right now, there might be a chance. But I believe it's a good call on the part of Raymond Berry, and they're going to go right at him to pick up this first down. They don't want Cincinnati to get the ball back even inside the 20-yard line.
Could easily be the biggest play of the 1985 season for the New England Patriots. To Tupu and Weathers, the running backs. That's Weathers. Not only does he have the first down, you can chalk up a touch for New England. Everybody at Sullivan Stadium was hoping for a mere 6 inches. Instead, Robert Weathers electrified everyone with 42 yards. You can still feel the electricity here from that 42-yard rump by Robert Weathers. High end over end kick. Fair catch called for at the 31-yard line. A moment ago, it was Robert Weathers on 4th down and 6 inches. Take a look as he bounces to the outside, and he is gone. First time all year the Patriots have had 3 rushing touchdowns in a single game. For Robert Weathers, his first touchdown romp of 1985. And what a time to get your touchdown legs. And this was the look of the excitement. Irving Fryar leading the dance. Woo-hoo! Esiason cannot hear a thing, and he'll bring his offense back. And the Patriot defense egging the crowd on even more. What a final regular season game for Julie Adams. If you just joined us, Julie Adams was the only player the Patriots introduced before today's ball game, retiring at the age of 37. Flag is down. Esiason puts it up. It is caught at the 41-yard line. Mike Martin, his first catch of the day. Again, flags are down. Clock stops with 1:46 to play. They'll pick the flags up. Red Cashin trying to sort it out. Let's listen.
Offside, number 56 on the defense. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Andre Tippett, the guilty party, declined the penalty because you picked up 9. It is second down and a yard. Miami all over the Bills. 28-0. The Jets leading Cleveland 30-10. That is James Brooks out of the backfield. Oh, did he put a move on? At the 48-yard line. He ran right around Ernest Gibson. A first down at the 46. Clock stops. 1:39 to play. Take nothing away from this Cincinnati Bengals organization. They have been behind all day long and have battled ferociously. The fans and the Queen City of Cincinnati, Ohio, have a great deal to look forward to in 1986. But for the Patriots, they're looking at a trip to the playoffs. Esiason, again, that is Brooks. He cannot hold the football. Oh my, that is the 4th pass that James Brooks has dropped today. Now the Patriots, they are up by 11 with 1:35 to play. On their way to the playoffs for only the 5th time in their 26-year history. In fact, their only playoff victory, you've got to go back to 1963. Esiason on 2nd and 10. James Brooks. It would have been a circus catch had he made it. Ronnie Lepet on the coverage with help from Raymond Claiborne. Now there's Raymond Berry. 13 years as a medium-range receiver with the Baltimore Colts. This telecast is presented by authority of the NFL. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New England Patriots and the National Football League is prohibited. Well, you talk about that New England Patriots victory in the playoffs back in 1963. 26-8 over the Buffalo Bills. Esiason. The ball is knocked free. It is a fumble. I believe it's recovered by Cincinnati. It is. Esiason slow getting up. Dave Remington covered the football. The clock's still running. We are now at a minute 12, a minute 11. The last time the Patriots were a part of the Super Bowl tournament back in 1982, knocked out by the Dolphins in the first round, 28-13. Fourth down and 12, Bengals. Boomer with time, lets it go.
The Patriots will take over 39 seconds left to play. First and 10.
Now next weekend on NBC Sports, the journey to the Super Bowl begins with the AFC Wild Card Playoff. It'll be the New England Patriots at Giant Stadium to tangle with the New York Jets. 3:30 Eastern Time, the AFC Wild Card, right here on NBC. .39 seconds to play. Eason goes down on a knee, and that's going to be it. For the first time in 3 years, Patriots fans will know the feeling of what the playoffs are all about. There is Billy Sullivan in the center of your screen. There has been talk of him selling this franchise.
That is the end of the football game here at Sullivan Stadium. The Patriots winning 34-20.
Julius Adams, his last game ever in Sullivan Stadium. What a day it was for number 86, the 9-year man out of Tennessee, Stanley Morgan. And for the Denver Broncos, who finished 11-5 in the AFC Western Division, for Dan Reeves, John Elway and company, the chant in the Mile High City is wait till next year. And the crowd of 60,000 pouring onto the playing surface here at Foxborough. Now the Patriots knew what they had to do today. They came off a tremendously emotional loss Monday night to the Miami Dolphins, a game they had every chance in the world to win down there at the Orange Bowl. And were it not for a last-second interception, Tony Eason was driving the Patriots for what possibly could have been the winning touchdown. A week ago, they were battling for the AFC Eastern Division title. Today, they were in a fight for their life just to survive and be a part of postseason play. Final score, the New England Patriots 34, the Cincinnati Bengals 23.
We ask that you please leave the building in place.
All right, Julie, come on.
We'll be back to Foxborough, Massachusetts. Hello, Julie, in just a moment.